Hello and welcome to yet another Infilink training video. In this video, we are going to get information about Alarm Logger and History Alarm Viewer objects in Infilink. We will discuss about logging of alarms to disk, setting up Alarm Logger, historical Alarm Viewer objects, exporting history alarms to CSV files. So let's get started. For this video demonstration, we are going to use this Infilink project to check out history alarms. Let us quickly see how this project is set up. Tag 1 and tag 2 are changing their values from 0 to 360. Sign and cost values of these two tags are calculated in scripts, and these four tags represent these values multiplied by 100. So the values of these sign and cost tags are changing from -100 to +100. The high, low and low alarms are set to 80, 60, -60 and -80 for the alarms on these four tags. You are seeing the values of these tags and current values are alarms here. Values of sign and cost are plotted on this graph. It just makes the demonstration pretty, isn't it? These alarms are logged to the disk, and in the next screen we are going to see the logged alarms. Infilink provides two different alarm viewer objects. One, live alarm viewer object. Second, history alarm viewer object. This is history alarm viewer object. Using this object, you can view the alarms. Those are logged to the disk. Infilink allows you to use as many objects of this type as may be required in your project. Older alarms are at the top and newer alarms are at the bottom. You can choose the fields or columns which are displayed in this object. You can also set the order of those columns. This is done in design mode. You can set filter for seeing only certain kind of alarms. Let us invoke that filter dialog and check out what it offers. Alarms displayed in this object can be filtered based on alarm type, severity level, and event type. Check or uncheck the required items and hit OK. The alarm list will be filtered and you will be able to see only the alarms of interest. Let me select only high alarms and alarms with severity level 8 just for demonstration. You are seeing that alarms of all kinds and alarms of severity level 5 and 8 are currently displayed in this object. Now let me hit OK, and now you will see that only high alarms and alarms with severity level 8 are displayed after applying the filter. You can also set start date and time for this object. This history alarm viewer object then will display the alarms which occurred only after that date and time. Let's change the date, start date and start time for this object. Currently we are seeing that the alarms from 15th April 21 are getting displayed. Now let me set the start date as April 16th 21 and start time of 8 0000 and click set. Now we see the alarms from 16th April 21 and after 8 o'clock in the morning are displayed in this object. I can move to the top of the list or bottom of the list by clicking these two buttons. I can scroll through the list. Infilink script commands behind these buttons allow you to carry out these actions. We will see those script commands shortly. While Infilink run mode is running, alarm logger is also running in the background. You can start or stop alarm logger by using these menu items. You also can carry out this alarm log start and stop actions by using Infilink script commands. You will see those commands later in this video. Now let's switch to design mode and check out how this project is set up. Let us open tags and tags groups dialog. You can see that I have created memory tags tag 1, tag 2, and tags to represent their sine and cosine values. I have also created alarm start date and alarm start time string tags. Alarms are defined for these four tags representing sine and cosine values. Let us check out this tag 1 sine tag. Notice that these four alarms are defined. The display and log checkboxes are checked. Alarms for this tag will be logged to the disk only if this log checkbox is checked. You can also define severity level to the alarms for this tag. You can also define minimum user access level. This access level restricts the alarm acknowledge action for users who have access level equal to or more than this access level. The important point to note here that if you want to alarm to be logged to the disk file, then you have to check this log checkbox for the alarms. You also need to be aware of alarm logger settings. These settings can be accessed by clicking Alarm Logger button on the Project tab. To do that, let me cancel out of these dialogs. Here is the Alarm Logger button on the ribbon. Check that. While running, Infilink will produce many alarm log files. By default, Infilink will create and store these log files in alarm log subfolder. This subfolder will be automatically created in your Infilink projects folder. If you do not want that, then you can specify different folder for logging of the alarms. So in that case, you have to set this user defined folder instead of default directory or folder. You should ensure that this checkbox start logger when the project starts is checked. If you want alarm logger to start immediately after starting running of the project in run mode. If you want that alarm logger should not start at the start of running the project, then keep this box unchecked. You can start or stop alarm logger in run mode using menu items start/stop alarm logger. You can also create buttons to carry out these actions. In that case, you will be using script commands syscommand dot alarm log start and syscommand alarm log stop defined for buttons. User will be able to click those buttons and thus will be able to start or stop alarm logger. Typically, this will be required if you choose to hide the run mode menu. You will find details of all the script commands and their syntax in the help documentation in chapter script reference. Typically, users want one alarm log file per 8-hour shift of operation of a plant. You can set at which hour new alarm log file should be created and for how many hours Infilink should continue to log alarms in that file. With these default settings, Infilink will generate new alarm log file at 0, 8 and 16 hours every day. You can change these settings as per your requirement. Infilink will also delete old alarm log files automatically. You can specify number of days you would like to retain those alarm log files here. Infilink alarm log files use proprietary alarm log file format. Alarm log files use ALF extension. Infilink can also create alarm log files in DBF format. This is an old database format. Infilink still supports it. You will be able to open up these DBF files using almost any database or spreadsheet applications. These DBF files will follow similar new file creation logic as followed for native format ALF files. Infilink will always use native ALF format files to store and display historical alarms. In addition to logging alarms in these two kind of files, Infilink also allows you to log alarms to MySQL databases. We will check out that feature in some other video. As the alarm events are generated while running the project, Infilink will hold them in a memory buffer. Alarm events are generated when alarm becomes active, when it becomes acknowledged, or when it becomes inactive. You can specify that buffer size here. You can also specify maximum holding period for these records in minutes. Infilink will flush the records to the disk when the buffer gets full or when the maximum holding period is over. Infilink will use whichever is earlier criteria for this flushing action. Let us now check the script commands which can be used for history alarm objects. We use the filter command to invoke the alarm filter dialog in run mode. Similarly, you can use start date and start time properties of history alarm viewer object to get or set start date and start time for the object. You can also use print method to print the alarms displayed in the alarm viewer object. Let us quickly check how these commands are associated with a button on the screen. So using script thiswin.almhist.filter, you can invoke that filter dialog in runtime. The thiswin refers to this window. ALMHist is the object name for this alarm history viewer, and filter is the method which is invoked for that object. Let us now check out the script commands which are explained in Infilink help documentation. I am seeing here the properties of history alarm viewer object, which you can change through scripts. So I am seeing the filter method, which you can use with a script command like win01.alarmHistViewer.filter. So in this case, win01 is the window name, alarmHistViewer is the name of the alarm history viewer object, and filter is the method. By executing this kind of script on a button, you can cause the filter dialog to be invoked in the run mode. Similarly, there are other script commands which you can use to carry out different actions, like scrolling of the alarm in the object, getting the alarm count for that object, getting or setting the start date and time for the object, or using the print method for that object to print the alarms. With this information, you will be easily able to set up your Infilink projects to use historical alarms. I just want to mention about one useful utility which is installed when you install Infilink. We have seen that Infilink uses proprietary file format for alarm log files, and you cannot easily view the contents of those files. But you can export those files to CSV format files using elf to CSV utility. You can then open those CSV format files using almost any spreadsheet program. Let us check out that utility. Open up Explorer, find out the folder where you have installed Infilink, and go to the Utilities subfolder. You will find an utility named ALF to CSV.exe. Double click and run that utility. Let us now convert some ALF files to CSV format files. You can set the formatting for date and time in this portion of the dialog box. You can also set how many digits after decimal point you want to be used for tag values displayed in those files. So I have selected these two ALF files and hitting the button create CSV format files from selected ALF files. So it's telling me two files are processed. So close this dialog box. I am going to the alarm log directory of my Infilink project directory, and I find two CSV files are generated here just now. Let me open up a CSV file using the spreadsheet program which I have installed on this machine. I can now see the alarms are logged in this file. So I am getting the tag name column, alarm date, time, current value, alarm type, its status, severity, the user, and other information logged for that alarm log file. So in this way, you can access the information stored in the alarm log files. So folks, we have almost covered everything required to use history alarms in Infilink. Thanks for watching this video and bye for now.